Warning, this show may contain some crude humor and mild swearing. Listener discretion is advised. The show was produced by Geek Happy Network, creators of the very best in audible oracle entertainment. In other words, podcasts. If you enjoy listening to Smörgåsbord, remember to subscribe to the show in Spotify or on your favorite podcast app. Remember to leave a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. This is Smörgåsbord!
Welcome to Smörgåsbord, a show where we explore the rituals, myths, and all things strange about the world of food. I'm Mick.
And I'm Angel.
And today we're here to explore the lack of nutrition and women in American cereal.
Part of your complete breakfast.
Part of
But not complete breakfast.
For men. How did we get to deciding on this episode?
I honestly don't know. The last month has been a blur, and I've had many conversations where I don't remember, but I remember this one. It's about cereal.
It's about cereal. I think it was just one of those things when we were talking about what's an interesting thing about food, and then we realized that
No cereal mascots are female.
yeah, I guess in North America at least. Like, I don't remember growing up thinking about it, but then Angel, I think you were the one who pointed it out.
Yeah, I was thinking about Fruit Loops, and then Frosted Flakes, and Lucky Charms, and Trix, or any of the other cereals that you've had as a kid.
Yeah.
They were all represented by boys.
Yeah, pretty much. And, well, we went to go find more into it, and really, okay. I guess we should just get into it.
Yes,
We'll look into like a little bit of the history of cereal and the health of it, like we always do. Then we'll just probably go ahead and explore some of the mascots of cereal, and then try to see why there really aren't any women in cereal.
You sound really stoned right now.
Why?
I don't know what happened to the tone of your voice, but I think
Oh.
you just threw it out.
I think I'm discovering my radio voice.
Ah, yes.
And this is my new radio voice.
Is it because you got some spanking new equipment?
Oh, maybe. Maybe I'm hearing my voice and I'm thinking, this voice is better.
That's one word for it.
Anyway, well, to give you a brief history on cereal. Cereal is essentially just made out of processed cereal grains.
Sugar.
And sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah. It's a predominantly American invention, and began as a digestive aid, and then
Wait, does it
acquired
make you
certain
poop?
religious overtones, and then became a sugary snack, and now kind of goes between health food and sweet indulgence.
That doesn't really go together.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird for me that there's a religious history in cereal.
I actually didn't know that.
I mean, they're kind of bland.
Well, yeah.
So
I mean, what's the most bland cereal you've had? Like cornflakes.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't taste like anything. And when you put it in milk, it just gets soggy and gross.
Or that bread that Catholics eat during...
Oh, right. That one.
The transmorg substance.
We keep going back to that episode and we still can't figure out how to say it. Transmorgasbord.
Smorgasbord. Got it. A cereal also just kind of came from corn and all that. So in North America, the native people from North Americans, or the Indians as they were called back then, found a way to make ground corn edible. Eventually got called grits and became a staple in the southern U.S. Never really gained popularity in the northern states.
I love grits.
Yeah. I've
Have you
never
had
actually
them?
had grits.
Oh, you have
Does
to
it
make it
sound
with like lard or butter.
Oh.
That's how
That
you make it
does
good.
not sound healthy.
No, but cereal isn't either, so
That's true.
nothing good is ever healthy.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh well.
And then food reformers in the 19th century eventually wanted to cut back on meat consumption for breakfast. I don't know why.
I mean, who wouldn't want a big old steak
right?
first thing in the morning?
I know my youngest, like Mario, my youngest brother, he used to love that steak and eggs in the morning. Every time we'd have IKEA breakfast, or not IKEA, IHOP breakfast, he'd usually order.
It's pretty heavy but you know, some countries, they eat their biggest meal in the morning.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
In the Philippines, we have like a full meal of rice, egg, and sausages and meat stuff and sweet
Meat
stuff. It's just a whole meal.
My favorite stuff.
I always find it's always surprising when non-Filipinos are surprised about how much we eat for breakfast.
Right, but are the rest of the meals lighter?
No. We have
that's the way to live life, man.
3 main meals, and then we have snack hours, which really sometimes turn into a meal. So there's definitely been times after lunch, like 2 hours after lunch, where you just kind of want to go get a snack. So you kind of munch a little bit in the leftovers from lunch.
Well, I learned something about after lunch things
Then you
today.
Finished your whole
High tea.
High tea. Oh,
It's
yeah.
an after lunch thing. And today, I don't know how anyone can eat after high tea. Because I had an experience today.
Like, how much did you eat for high tea?
It's usually tea, obviously, and then you get 3 tiers of stuff. So you get sandwiches, you get scones, and then you have a tier of dessert.
Right.
But the sandwiches aren't full size. It's not like a sub.
Yeah.
It's like little finger size sandwiches.
Right. But you end up eating like...
But after like a tier, like I ate this 2 scones and then I had a sandwich.
Right.
And I was done.
Jeez.
But then I tried to cram more into my mouth and it was just very sad. It's like I tried to eat the dessert and I couldn't. I'm like, can I have a box? Like I've had high tea before, but this time, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I think that the portions are just much bigger.
No, fair enough. Yeah. Or maybe just you guys bought too much high tea food. Is that a thing?
I mean, it's a set menu. Like, so if you buy
fair
high
enough.
tea for a person,
Right.
you get a set amount of scones and sandwiches.
Right. Fair enough. Well, yeah.
But back to cereal, because
Yeah, back to
breakfast is what
cereal.
we're talking about.
So yeah, I guess back in the 19th century in America, they found that I guess they were eating too much meat, so they're trying to explore different alternatives, vegetarian alternatives, for example. And then later in the century, Seventh-day Adventists based in Michigan.
Why didn't they just get Beyond Meat burgers?
This was 200 years ago.
Well, get with it.
But yeah, so apparently Seventh-day Adventists eventually pushed a food reformation that involved breakfast cereals. And that's how it kind of became popular further up north. Was religion forcing a meal on people.
So I'm guessing it wasn't sugary back then.
Not really. So yeah. In terms of a little bit more of the history, in 1863, James Caleb Jackson,
Famous white man.
famous white man in the New York area, created breakfast cereal from graham flour dough that was dried and broken into shapes that were so hard that they needed to be soaked in milk overnight. This eventually got called granola.
Oh, granola. I thought that meant hippies.
No, it's that one. I guess it's
The
graham
one
flour.
that you eat.
Yeah, super.
I mean, you can also eat people.
This sounds disgusting. It's like just flour dough that's just so
Was
hard.
it even baked?
Super hard. I mean, look at it. It's a graham flour dough that had to be soaked overnight in milk so you could eat
It's
it.
peasant food.
Jesus. Wow.
Mm.
Eventually,
Times are hard, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. Maybe they did it for God. I don't know.
I think they did it to save money,
Yeah.
as everything is.
Yeah. Eventually, John Harvey Kellogg, who's a surgeon,
Also
Prevent
famous white man.
health spa. Yeah, super famous. I think that's a more familiar name.
Kellogg.
Later made a version and called it granola. And then a former patient of Kellogg, C.W. Post, who's also known for
Post cereals.
Post cereal, exactly, created grape nuts, which would become
Grit
the first-
nuts?
Grape nuts.
Grape nuts.
And he used discounting to try to undercut the Kellogg, I guess.
Oh, early cereal rivalry.
Yeah. Eventually, Kellogg's younger brother made what's called now made cornflakes, which we very much know from Kellogg, the brand, and they started adding sugar to it and began trying to use that for mass marketing. This eventually was one of the reasons why cereal became such a thing for children, because with the sugar, they realized kids wanted it, and then they started adding in-box prizes, which they found kids enjoying as well.
Man, I had some of the best ones when I was a kid.
Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why it became a big thing for kids.
It was just advertising.
Exactly. It was just really marketing and advertising at the end of it all. Nothing really related to health. And then a little bit into how cereal is made. It's made from processed grains, as we mentioned, and fortified with some vitamins and minerals. You usually eat it with milk, yogurt, fruit, or nuts, whatever you want. How it's made is the grains are usually processed into flour and cooked, and then mixed with ingredients like the sugar, the cocoa, and whatnot.
The color.
Yeah. And water. And then they are then go through a high temperature process that kind of shapes the cereal. It's called extrusion. Not extortion, extrusion. And then from there, the high temperatures cook it and shape it, and then they dry it. They cook it first, and then they dry it. Once it's dried, they then shape it into balls, stars, loops, or rectangles, or just something like the
alphabets.
Slice.
Is there an alphabet cereal?
Probably.
I don't remember.
There's alphabet soup.
Yes, there's alphabetties.
Yeah.
Alphabagettis.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know about cereal. I don't remember. I think there used to be one, but
I'm
not a big cereal eater.
Neither am I.
Yeah, I used to eat it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But that's because parents put it in front of you. And you're like, okay.
I like oatmeal now.
Oatmeal. Ooh, that's like horse food.
Yeah. I'm not a horse,
I like
though.
burgers.
For breakfast?
Sure.
Anytime. Fair enough. When it comes to the health in cereal, as we mentioned, it's not really the healthiest thing in the world. In fact, the added sugar is pretty much the worst ingredient you could add to your diet nowadays.
Right, it's just a bowl of sugar and like carbs.
Exactly. And that in turn causes a whole load of diseases, which we're not going to get into because we're already depressed as we are.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Depression.
Yeah. But most of this sugar comes from processed foods as well, and as we know, not all processed foods are healthy or good for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Better stop putting Spam on my burger.
Yeah, I probably should. Especially when you already have
I'm going to start putting cereal on my burger.
just a little Lucky Charm.
Lucky Charms. Oh, so the thing with Lucky Charms is I never actually eaten a Lucky Charms cereal.
Right.
I just pick the marshmallows out and eat those.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't even know. I've never actually, I think, tried Lucky Charms.
I mean, they all kind of taste the same because it's all made from like cereal grain
and sugar.
Yeah,
fair enough. In fact, if you really look into most of the cereal containers, they'll usually put sugar as the first or second ingredient or third ingredient over corn and grain. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much sugar you're consuming. And usually when you start your day with that much sugar, it can spike your blood sugar and insulin levels. And an excess amount can also increase your risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer.
Woohoo!
Now, spiking your blood sugar and insulin levels aren't necessarily a bad thing, but I take it that I'm no doctor, but
no,
I don't think you want to spike it too much.
No.
So
what you're saying is me eating my breakfast cereal with a can of Red Bull is just a no-no.
Yeah, that's just bad.
Okay.
Maybe you could even out your spiking by adding
just
some
having Red Bull
or some vodka. That's a different kind of spike. Like just even out your spikes,
That sounds legit.
So instead of a big ass steak, it's like 3 sticks through your heart. And as we all know, especially nowadays, breakfast cereals are highly marketed as healthy. They usually use words like low fat or whole grain and blah blah blah. But let's
be real here.
We're here to remind you that that's marketing for you.
Right. They're using cheap ingredients and then coating it with sugar, so your kids are going to be like, I want Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
I want Cocoa Puffs.
So we suggest you look at the ingredient list and see how much sugar there is before.
How about you get in the kitchen and make an omelet?
Or that. Yeah. Now, cereal, there are a variety of different kinds of cereals out there, and some of them aren't always cereal in and of itself isn't always unhealthy, because it's really the sugar part that makes it unhealthy. So when we're looking at it from like the healthiest kinds of cereals to the least healthiest kind of cereals, porridge is probably one of your best ways to go when it comes to health if you still want to eat your cereal. But you kind of have to remember, don't sweeten it and don't put high fat contents of milk in it, which means you're going to
just tastes like wet newspaper.
Yeah, exactly. So your breakfast will just revolve around wet newspaper and sadness.
Oh.
But at least
sounds like a regular
physically
Tuesday.
Healthy, yeah. If you want to feel like a Tuesday but also feel a little healthier, have some porridge.
Isn't that what they feed the orphans?
Maybe. Isn't that the one in Oliver when he's like, could I have some more?
Yeah, it's either that or gruel, and I don't know what gruel is, but gruel and porridge sounds like it's probably very similar.
Yeah. But
just
yeah.
Slops of moist goop.
Moist goop. But the good thing about porridge is it does have a really high fiber content.
Helps you poop.
Exactly. It can also help lower your cholesterol level.
Oh, yeah.
As part of your diet. But yeah, as we mentioned, just keep in mind that this is pure porridge, no sugar, no salt, and no high-fat milk in it. The next option you could have is just muesli.
Muesli.
Muesli. Yeah. But again, that's without any sugar or salt. This is also pretty good. You can have a mixture of grains, fruit, and nut with it as well. If you really want to add some sweetness to it, consider putting some dried fruit, which can also add to your fruit consumption limit, diet, whatever. After that, your best bet for health would be the shredded whole wheat cereal and bran flakes. And then we go on to the corn flakes and muesli with sugar. And then obviously the really bad ones for you would be sugar frosted cornflakes or anything that has chocolate on it.
All of them.
Like, what was
okay,
it?
not all
the
of them.
Kellogg's Crave. Have you ever had that one?
I've never had Crave.
Or there'd be it's just cornflakes with chocolate inside of it.
Whoa.
So you would bite into it, and you know those Hello Pandas?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much a bowl of Hello Pandas.
Yeah, I want a bowl of Hello Pandas.
That was my favorite cereal.
Well, of course, because it tastes yummy.
Exactly. But see, the problem with that is you already have a cereal which is could already be high in fat or sugar, and then you already had the sugar,
cramming
and then you also have the
chocolate
chocolate to add to that, which means it's just yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds really good. I would like
specking.
I would like a bowl of Hello Pandas.
Yeah.
But not with milk. That just makes it soggy.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of information about cereal. But we want to spend more of the time talking about the mascots.
Yes.
Mascots
Those,
are great.
I was gonna say bad words. Oh wait, we do cuss in this.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers.
Yeah, those cereal mascots. Gosh, it's the worst. Now, as we mentioned, the mascots really came to life because of the fact that a lot of these cereal manufacturers discover that a really big primary market they have are children. Especially back in those days where you're trying to feed kids some kind of meal, and children end up kind of enjoying this sweet snack. And that came, like we mentioned, from Kellogg when he introduced those box prizes that were trying to target younger demographics, and it became super successful that everybody kind of followed suit from that. But in the middle of the 20th century, advertisers have pretty much picked up on that idea and really just started focusing more and more into cereal, or targeting cereal to kids. Nowadays, you probably notice when you go to the grocery aisle that there are fewer mascots that appear in your cereal aisles, and I think that in part have to do with this whole grain, whole or whole grains and oats kind of movement that's come to become healthy.
Right.
As a healthy option for people to eat when it comes to having the nuts and the fruits and the blah blah blah. So that way they're able to appeal more to adults now, and that's why I think you don't see as many mascots, which I think is a terrible idea, because I would definitely buy
As an adult, as a full-grown adult,
as
yes.
a full-grown adult, I will definitely buy the one with the mascot.
Me too.
Over
Not
like
gonna lie.
cashy
Yeah.
boxes that just look so
That's
boring.
just has leaves on it.
Yeah. Like, I hate the taste of those Vector cereals.
Oh,
I like it
right.
because it's so colorful and it reminds me of Tony the Tiger.
Wait, so who is your favorite cereal mascot?
My favorite cereal. I don't think I have any.
Me neither. But I really
I kinda
enjoyed the Trix rabbit.
Yeah. Or was Toucan Sam?
Toucan Sam.
Yeah, he was kind of cool
He
too.
follows his nose, which is not his nose, it's his beak.
Yeah. So speaking of these mascots, I'm just going to go a little bit into the history and how some of the most common popular mascots came into play. We have Captain Horatio P. Crunch.
Oh my god, he had a first name?
He had
And a
first
middle
name
initial.
And a middle initial. He's not just Captain Crunch.
Oh.
He's Captain Horatio P. Crunch.
What does the P stand for? Is that a mystery?
It's P-E-E.
P-E-E.
Yeah. I think
He-
P-P's
P-P's.
Yeah,
He
P-P's.
peas cereal.
P-P's cereal.
That's
the history.
disturbing, and he might want to seek a medical professional for that.
No, it actually is just the letter P. The idea of Captain P. Crunch came from a survey response from kids that said that they hated soggy cereal. So the artist Jay Ward drew the captain, and kind of used this idea of Captain Crunch guarding the crunch of the cereal from the evil barefooted pirate
Milk?
Jean Lefoote.
Oh, if anybody puts their foot in my cereal,
Yeah,
I'm just
why-
not going to eat it.
That's kind of gross.
That
you
is
know, like-
gross. I didn't know about this history.
Yeah, so apparently... Yeah, so
You're
Captain
protecting
Crunch,
your cereal from feet.
well, the guy's name is John the Foot. I don't know if he actually puts his foot in there.
That's just what I'm picturing.
I think
Like a
John,
dirty, scurvy pirate dipping his
Yeah.
leopard toes.
his leopard toes and creating ultimate sogginess into the cereal.
That's a real crime.
Yeah, so that's what Captain Crunch is all about. He's this captain who's protecting the crunch.
Fun
But-
fact.
Yeah, I don't know if his name came from his passion for that or just coincidentally was Captain Crunch as well.
You know, I've never had Captain Crunch until last week or the
Really?
week before. Yeah, it was at Crafty,
Oh.
and I'm like, we're
Is it
about to
any
do a
good?
cereal episode. I should taste this, and it's just sugar. It's just tiny little. It was very crunchy,
Right.
but I also didn't put milk in it, so
I feel like you need to balance the sogginess. I think Captain Crunch doesn't protect crunch perfection. He has a crunch balance.
so slightly crunch, but maybe softly crunched,
Yeah, like soggy crunch.
soggy crunch,
Maybe his name should be Captain Soggy P Crunch.
or Horatio Sog Crunch.
Moving on to the next one, Rice Krispies. Now, as everybody knows, a Rice Krispies is the appeal that they use with Rice Krispies is kind of giving it a crackly sound.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Snap, crackle, and pop. Exactly. Which then led to the creation of those
Snap,
specific
crackle,
characters.
and pop.
Snap, crackle, and pop. Exactly. I think a big part of that advertising was obviously they were targeting children, so this kind of sound of having the food talk or making it sound like it was talking. Because
It's an
popping sounds.
onomatopoeia.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of helped make it appealing to children, because children obviously would not find it creepy that their food is talking to them.
But they also like one syllable words.
Oh yeah, because also kids are simple, basic bitches. And so eventually they created the idea of these three characters, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, and turned them into these little tiny gnome-looking creatures. Snap was the first one that came out and appeared in a few ads before his brothers Crackle and Pop came. Just like Captain Crunch, when they appeared in 1939, they had their rivals, Soggy, Mushy, and Tushy? Tuffy.
Tushy? So the first rival was a foot, and the second one is a butt.
But yeah, apparently, cereal companies love their porno. So yeah, Snack, Crackle, and Pop's rivals is Soggy, Mushy, and Tuffy, who would fight for, obviously, trying to keep, again, cereal not mushy. This reached quite some success. As we know, we still see Snack, Crackle, and Pop until today in advertising.
You know what's funny about Rice Krispies? It's one of the few that doesn't have that, but isn't initially sweet. Yeah. But then we started to make Rice Krispie treats out of them.
And those are super sweet.
That is just full marshmallow.
Yeah. Yeah, those things are so gross, but so good at the same time.
I've eaten a few. By a few, I mean a lot.
As they still do continue to show up in advertising today as well, Snack, Crackle, and Pop are now the longest running cereal advertising campaign.
Wow.
In history. Cool, I guess.
I guess. But whatever happened to Tushy? They've been defeated long ago.
Tushy got a job at Pornhub, and now she's just banking on that. The next one is Trix the Rabbit, your favorite?
Yes.
Trix was actually originally a hand puppet with the original tagline,
creepy.
I'm a rabbit, and rabbits are supposed to like carrots, but I hate carrots. I like Trix. It is the least catchiest tagline I've heard.
That is very long.
That's a terrible tagline.
That is, yeah.
Whoever
wrote this, they should be fired.
Rabbits are supposed to like carrots. It's like when you just spout out your thoughts and then it
becomes a thing.
And maybe, I don't know, they were just also hungover the next day. They're like, yeah, fuck it, send that one.
But obviously it resonated because he stayed around.
He did. In 1976, we were worried though that the rabbit idea wasn't really working. Well, with that kind of tagline, I guess that made sense.
It's very long. You should condense it too. But tricks are for kids.
Yeah, something like that, right? What they ended up doing was actually doing this campaign of letting the kids decide whether the rabbit should get a bowl of Trix.
That's just cruel.
Surprisingly, it became successful that so many kids voted for letting the rabbit have a bowl.
Wait, kids have empathy?
Yeah.
What?
I'm also not sure if there's a bowl of weed or it's just a bowl of cereal.
Either way.
Granting it's in the 70s, maybe it is weed.
Or LSD.
Or LSD. Just a bowl of LSD. Explains why he's so...
He's a little bit nutty.
Yeah.
And he kind of like slithers around.
Yeah, exactly. But he's kind of normalized lately, and he hasn't really had a full bowl apparently since 1980.
Oh, that's gonna make anybody grumpy.
Yeah, I think
he's just constantly chasing that high.
Yeah.
That you can't have.
No, now he's hanging out with Lindsay Lohan and all the Disney stars.
He doesn't even have teeth anymore.
The next one is Tony the Tiger, who came out about around the 1950s. Tony the Tiger actually wasn't the original or wasn't the only mascot for the Frosted Flakes. When they created the Frosted Flakes, the advertising agency Leo Burnett came up with actually 4 different animals instead of 1. Tony the Tiger, Caddy the Kangaroo, Elmo the Elephant, and Newt the Gnu.
So Tony beat the shit out of the other ones and then ate them.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much.
Okay, cool.
They made 3 herbivores and 1 carnivore. They couldn't decide. Eventually it came down to Tony and Katie the Kangaroo. But...
Yeah, you know those kangaroos can punch.
Exactly. But as we all know...
Tigers have big teeth.
They're only male mascots, so obviously Katie lost this fight.
Katie, no.
In fact, it's interesting that Tony became so successful that apparently ExxonMobil sued them for using a tiger in their ads because Exxon has a tiger as their logo.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Weird.
Because it's gas.
Yeah, you'd think people won't confuse gas with
cereal. Also,
like corn oil, maybe. So they're like, "Oh, you're infringing on our corn oil by all this cereal you're making."
Also, you can't copyright a tiger.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, Americans and their obsession to own things.
Oh yeah, they like suing each other's pants off.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty much Tony the Tiger there. As a random note, Thurl Ravenscroft is the original voice of Tony the Tiger, who's the one who also sang "You're the Mean One." You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch, in the in the Grinch cartoons.
Famous voice.
Yeah.
Because they're great. They're great.
Great. And last but not least is Mr. Lucky himself from Lucky Charms. This marshmallow in a bowl idea came because, obviously, again, back to making it appealing to kids. This was spawned from the idea of having marshmallows around a charm bracelet, hence it becoming Lucky Charms. He was replaced for a while in the 1970s by Waldo the Wizard. But, yeah, it's a good thing they went back to Lucky Charms. Waldo the Wizard. Where is he? Just poofed out of nowhere. Eventually it evolved and Lucky Charms bracelets, the charms in Lucky Charms cereal eventually evolved from just the yellow moons and stars to now include blue moons and shooting stars and all sorts of different fun stuff.
There's like a rainbow and there's like a leprechaun hat.
Leaf thing and a hat. Yeah, there's like a lot of them now.
Yeah, I remember as a kid watching cartoons and there would be a lot of cereal commercials.
Yeah.
And like they're always saying, now we have a new Lucky Charm.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
Another one. It's DJ Khaled.
But I mean, it's just all marshmallows.
It's just different colored marshmallows.
Yeah, I feel bad for the kid who's collecting all of these, and it's like, oh yeah, it's just this whole collection.
And you spill water on it, they just all disappear.
Yeah. I gotta wash these because I'm dirty.
Did you know you can buy Lucky Charms marshmallows in like 7-pound bags on Amazon?
Oh Jesus, that's disgusting.
No, but then you don't get the rest of the shit you don't want to eat anyway.
Yeah, that's. I think you would be okay.
That's what I'm gonna spend my gift card on.
Just all of that. Let me know when you buy it. We'll make a video thing of you.
It was down to that or like a very hoey costume for Halloween. So I don't know. One of them's gonna take priority.
Well, I mean, if it's a hoey costume, you're not gonna. Less is more, right? So just.
Well, yes, but less also costs money.
Fair enough. Interestingly, for Lucky Charms is Arthur Anderson, the original voice of Lucky Charms for actually was the voice for 9 years.
29 years?
Not Irish.
Not Irish.
Yeah.
Fraud.
Yeah. Lucky Charm is a fake. Not so lucky now.
Wait, did you say 29 years?
Yeah, he was the voice of Lucky Charms for 29 years.
That's older than a lot of people I know.
Yeah. Pretty much. So yeah, as you can see, there's one thing that keeps all of these mascots in common, that they're all just male mascots.
Yes.
So we tried to find out a little bit why that's the case, and
I think it's just a sexist time when they were all made, and they never.
There were girl kids.
There were girl kids. You know, they're the ones that don't matter.
What were they supposed to eat?
They're not gonna have futures.
Cereal.
Not like our boys, who's gonna be scientists and
Yeah.
astronauts and presidents. The girls are gonna learn how to vacuum.
They still need to eat though.
You would think.
Yeah.
I don't think representation matters was really a concept back then.
Yeah, and then I was looking more into it. I don't think it was really anything except for the fact that all of these were created by advertising agencies and
who employed men,
companies, which was heavily dominated by men. It's a very, very masculine industry, and still in some ways is today. And the film life, for those who work in film and know that Angel and I both work in film, hours are crazy, and
that's why we sound cracked out AF.
Yeah. But that's why representation is so much better there. In advertising, in some places, it's still very heavily dominated by men. Actually, the agency I worked in, that was actually pretty balanced. But then again, this is 2000 something. Yeah. But back in the day, like if anyone's seen Mad Men, for example, you can see how much it was very male dominant. It was very a lot of egos and blah blah blah. So I think that's really just where it came from. It was just a boys' club of advertisers who created a bunch of
Male
either
mascots
gender
that
neutral or male mascots.
they're more relatable to their creators.
Yeah, and exactly. Like there wasn't really a female artist to create a female character, and even when Katie the kangaroo came out,
They punched her to death.
yeah, exactly.
They fed her to a tiger.
Yeah. I looked into it a little bit more as well, and there really wasn't too much into it about it. I think some of it may have been a car again. Jeez, so good. Yeah, there's really not much into it. There were some things about looking that you don't get nutritional advice from women. I thought that was just a little too far out for a character or idea. The one thing that I found interesting was even looking for opportunities where there could have been female mascots. They didn't really have any. For example, Fruity Pebbles, the one that has the name of the Flintstones characters, decided to put Barney and Fred Flintstone instead of Pebbles.
Of course. Pebbles.
Yeah, but they still call it Fruity Pebbles. There were also some stuff like General Mills had the Chex cereals, but then this one was just showing anonymous like photos of guys and girls, cartoon versions of guys and girls, and
there's
cereal.
no like one definitive mascot.
Yeah, and of course from time to time you'll see female athletes or whatever show up in a Wheatie thing. So there are some ways some women appear, but when it comes to mascots, I think it's more of a like. I don't know. For example, Trix is kind of known as a he or whatever, but I think it's more like it could be gender neutral or whatever. So there are some that's like kind of gender neutral maybe or whatever. But I think, yeah, as you mentioned, I think a big part of it really is just the artists were men. So they made male mascots.
It was a time.
It was a time. So again, another Smörgåsbord episode that did not have an exciting backstory into it.
I just thought it was an interesting topic.
Yeah, it is, I think so.
Because I don't think people thought about it. Yeah. Like, hey, did you know that all cereal characters are boys?
Yeah, when it comes to mascots. And I think maybe we have to look into kid psychology or whatever, or how portrayal of children is heavily masculine and all that, but I think that we have to leave to a big, more scientific podcast.
Yeah.
Or scientific people.
Wait, I had a thought earlier. Because, you know, a lot of drug tests only test on white males.
Yeah.
So this is kind of akin to that.
Yeah, so it's sort of like that, where they assume that they could probably just get away with targeting one specific group and assuming that everybody else will fall into that. Yeah, for sure. I think so. That definitely probably comes into play for that.
Well, the interesting thing is my friend sent me, this is out of the blue for no reason. She just sent me a picture of a cereal. I don't think this is a mascot, but it's called mermaid cereal because it's in the shape of like little shells and stuff.
Right.
And like there's a picture of a mermaid on it, but I don't think it's a branded.
Right.
Like she doesn't
mascot.
have a name. Yeah. It's just a random mermaid on the box.
Yeah. It is interesting though to think about that. Why there really isn't. But when it comes to breakfast as a whole, there is Aunt Jemima.
Jemima.
So there is one.
She's the most important. Syrup.
Yeah. And that's it. There was a time where Dora was like a cereal or a mascot.
Dora the Explorer?
Like, yeah, she just appeared in a bunch of different breakfast
but that's like a
stuff.
guest star.
Yeah, she's a guest star. But yeah, when it come, we had to go as far as including every kind of breakfast meal
to find Aunt Jemima.
Aunt Jemima. Props to her.
Props to her. She's living in a boy's world.
Yeah.
She's like the lone mom in a frat house.
Exactly. But that's about it.
Was very informative.
Because when we keep going further, then we have, Jolly Green Giant and all that. So it really is pretty much just Aunt Jemima.
Uncle Ben is a man.
The Pillsbury Doughboy,
Boy.
Chester
Ooh.
Cheetah,
Oh.
Charlie the Tuna,
There's a
Vlasik's
tune.
Pickle
Oh,
Stork.
wait.
Those are all
They're all
males.
boys.
But there are actually a few, to be honest. I mean, there is like Mrs. Butterworth and all that. But yeah.
It's interesting that, cooking is traditionally like a woman's job.
Yeah.
Yet all these food-related mascots are all
Yeah.
men.
But see, I think that's where it really comes into play too, in that you don't really cook cereal.
Right.
So it became this like this would be my theory to why maybe it's
so
interesting
easy that even a man can do it.
Yeah, maybe it is that like that they're targeted to. It's a very masculine thing because there's no cooking involved or whatever. It's like grilling in the barbecue versus cooking in the kitchen.
That's not
back in
cooking,
the day
that's
or
grilling. Propane.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's a big part of why it became cereal. It got tagged as a masculine thing. Like even now, I feel like a big reason why cereal became feminine nowadays is because it became a health thing. We're looking into making it a little bit more healthier for people and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's really all I had for this.
Yay!
Yeah. I guess a big question. We go back to the question of, is any of this taste good? Heck yeah. Some of them do.
Yes. Oh, I want to mention a really cool cereal thing that I've seen.
Do it.
So, I don't remember when this was. This was a while ago. There was some kind of like fair. I don't really remember what kind of fair it was, carnival prizes or whatever. And the sidewalks leading up to it, they put a bunch of Fruit Loops.
Okay.
To like give it cut to like make, arrows pointing a specific direction.
Right.
And then they stomped on it.
Oh.
So it looked like really cool sidewalk art.
What?
So it looked like chalk, but like upon closer inspection, you realize it's actually stomped cereal.
That's so cool.
So it was pretty cool.
Maybe they just ran out of chalk.
Probably.
Some guy was
some
walking
genius
with
was
a
like,
box
hey,
of-
look.
Oh shit, we run out of cereal. Joe, what do we do? He's like, we could use this one. I got a bowl of Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops. I mean, somebody meticulously laid it down in a color pattern and then
cool.
stomped on it. So
That would be a lot of work.
that was a lot. It's like pixel art.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Should we go stomp some cereal?
Yeah, let's go stomp some cereal.
Sounds good.
Before that, what are you eating? What have you been eating?
Aside from my high tea,
Yeah, aside from your high tea.
I have not been eating.
Busy on set, you can't even have time to eat.
Nope.
Yeah.
My high tea, though, let me just tell you, was really good.
Yeah, was it good? Okay, so what kind of sandwiches did you get?
Hell if I know what they were called. Yeah, but
Yeah,
there was
so
at the Fairmont,
Yeah.
which is where I got my high tea. They have themes that they rotate.
Right.
So
What's the theme on this
theme,
one?
I want to say I forgot what it's actually called, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it colonialist tea, because
Isn't all high tea colonialist tea?
I mean, yeah, but this one in particular, because everything was slightly curry flavored, and there were
Right.
pakoras,
Oh, interesting.
and yeah, we had like a lobster pakora as
Right.
part of the sandwich tier,
Okay.
and there's another curry sandwich, and I can't tell you what else was in it, but it was very good. It had like candied nuts on top.
Ooh,
Yummy.
that sounds super fancy.
It was super fancy. I felt like a hobo.
Just like, okay.
Yeah.
I
like I
haven't
haven't
even
brushed my
showered
hair
today
in
yet.
about 2 weeks.
What's that smell? Is that olives?
It's the curry.
It's curry, right?
It's the curry.
Not the olives. There are no olives. Oh,
There are no olives.
you know what? Yeah, maybe it is just a sandwich. Is that Old Mayo? Maybe mayo.
Oh, wait.
Stale?
Let me just tell you about one of the desserts that I managed to fit into my tummy.
Right.
Because when we got to the dessert tier, I was already beyond full.
Yeah.
But it's gulab jamun, which is an Indian
Right.
dessert that's like a milky fried dough ball.
Yeah.
they cut it in half and they put it on a cheesecake.
What the heck?
It was amazing.
Mm,
Scrumptious.
that sounds
Heavenly.
Good. Yum.
It was great.
Yum.
Yeah, I wish I had more of that particular one. But now I have tons of takeaway
Other stuff.
that's waiting at home.
Nice.
And none of them is that gulab jamun cheesecake.
Because everyone ate it all?
Yeah.
No, fair enough. That's fair. Yeah, I just had tacos.
There's some burnt
Like a
nachos
peasant.
downstairs.
And burnt nachos, yeah, because my brother put like $3.75 for.
He put it on broil?
Yeah.
Did you know that I used to not know the difference between broil and bake? So I would just put everything on broil.
Oh,
And then things got very, very crispy.
why is everything so cooked on the top but not on the bottom?
Oh, I got
Weird.
skills.
It's fine. I had a friend who couldn't cook, shake, and bake, so.
Oh, that's sad. Well, I tried to shake and bake like zucchini sticks before. Let me just tell you, it doesn't work.
That sounds
doesn't
gross.
stick.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
I just wanted zucchini sticks, huh?
Yeah, I think you have to put a batter in it, and then the.
Yeah, it can't go dry.
Oh, yeah, you can't just dry
Coat.
coat.
Coat that
You can't
zucchini.
just dry crumb the zucchini. Come on.
Good lord, I tried. Okay.
Anyway, that's our. Oh god. I think maybe next episode we'll do better, but probably not.
Oh, yeah, I'm not promising anything.
Thanks to our one listener, Phil.
Phil, wait, Nick also, shout out.
Oh, shout out to Nick. Nick and Phil are grandparents of film, listening to their two
To
children.
us screw up repeatedly.
But hey, we have better equipment now, so maybe it'll sound better at least.
It'll sound better as we fuck up. Our fuck ups sound crisp
Yeah.
and delicious.
Crispy fuck ups, just like cereal.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, bye, I guess.
Bye.
This is Smörgåsbord. Have a food-related ritual, myth, or something strange you want us to explore? Send us a message through Facebook at Geek Happy Network. We'd love to hear from our fellow foodie listeners. And while you're there, remember to subscribe or follow us too. This show was created by Angel Lynn and Mick Narciso, hosted by Angel Lynn and Mick Narciso, editing by Mick, and logo by Angel. Thanks for listening. For more GHN shows like the Monster Slayer's Guide to Slaying Monsters, come give us a listen at geekhappynetwork.com or look for us on your favorite podcast app. Oh, and be sure to follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Geek Happy Network.